Welcome to my mini crochet tutorial on UK terminology. We start this tutorial with a slip knot. And put the slip knot loop onto our hook. Now to start, we're going to do foundation chain. We're going to make 11 so that we can have 10 double crochet stitches. So to make a chain, we are going to yarn around our hook and through the loop 11 times. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You'll notice that I'm using my hook very much like a steering wheel. 8, 9, 10. And what I'm doing is I'm drawing the yarn towards my right hand side using my hook. So that's 11. And there's our chain. I guess they look a bit like chevrons or a little bit like wheat ears. Each of the stitches is kind of like a V shape and they're all following in the same direction. To make our foundation row, what I'm going to do is something a little different from what I was taught when I was younger. I'm actually going to be working into the back bumps. That's these pieces here. So each stitch is made up of 3 strands. You have 2 strands on the front of the work and you'll have a single strand across the back of the work. That's where I'm going to make my double crochets. So to start with, we're going to go into the second chain from our hook. So we're skipping this first one and going straight in there. So make a double crochet. I'm going to go into the stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop. And I have 2 loops left on my hook. Yarn over and go through those 2 loops. I'm going to do a couple of rows of this and then I'll show you how to do it again. So we go into our stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over our hook and through the 2 loops on our hook. So I'm going to steer my hook under and around the top of my yarn, draw my hook towards my right hand side to bring up the loop, and I have 2 loops on my hook, and then I'm going to yarn over and take off those 2 loops, and I end up with 1 loop on my hook again. Into the stitch, pick up my yarn, draw it to my right hand side through the front of the stitch. I have my 2 loops, then yarn round and take it through those 2 loops. Now we do have a stitch here, and the one next to our slip knot, so we've got to do that one as well. Yarn over, bring it through, yarn over and draw through 2. And that is our foundation row. What we do next is, as we are working in double crochet, we are going to do 1 chain which equates to the same height as a double crochet, and now we're going to turn our work. So I'm just going to flip it over from right to left or left to right if you're a left-hander, so that I'm now looking at the back of the stitches so that I can work my next row. I got my chain for the height. And the first stitch I want to go into is this one at the base of the chain. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook, and I'm actually taking it through from the front to the back and picking up both strands, so the two strands of the DC. So my hook goes in, I'm going to pick up the yarn and draw it through to the front, and I'm going to yarn over and go through 2 stitches. And I'm going to repeat that along this side to make sure I still have 10 stitches. It's always a good idea to count your stitches as you go, so that you don't have too much work to frog. Now, I'm not quite at the end here, because you see I've got this knobbly bit. This is my last stitch. This is actually the chain stitch from the first row that we didn't use, so we have to remember to pick that up as well, otherwise we'll end up decreasing and we'll end up with a wonky side. And then we finish our DC off there. We want to chain again, and now we're just going to flip our work over. And you see the gap at the base of the chain, just there. That's where we're going to go in to make another row of double crochet. And into the last one. And now we're going to chain 1, because it's the same height as a double crochet. We're going to turn our work over so that we can now do row 4. We're going to go into the stitch, yarn over and draw it up, yarn over and through the 2.